And as I said, we will take, there will be voting on the projects presented today in the meeting, and I will put the voting forms in the chat once we get to that portion of the meeting. Unfortunately, because of the last minute changes to the date for today's meeting, the Boston PD officers are unable to attend, so there is no public safety report today. They did let me know that if you do have questions, you can contact them at 617-343-4752. And I'll make sure that we put that number in the minutes if you do have questions about anything for the Boston PD. So I do apologize that they're not here to present today. With that said, we will just move forward with the agenda. And I don't know if Lisa, or I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, or Liza is here and can present.
I am, yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to jump in if you're ready for me to.
Yeah, so you can you can share your screen and whatever you need.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just say a quick hello before I start screen sharing. I'm Liza Meyer. I'm Chief Landscape Architect with the City of Boston Parks Department, and I'm going to talk for just a few minutes tonight about our open space and recreation plan that we're working on updating right now. Let me just pull up some slides. All right, can people see that? I hope so. You'll just have to let me know if there's.
You can see it.
Okay, good. So we are sort of midstream in our update process for the open space and recreation plan. This is a plan we provide to the state every 7 years. It is essential for applying for state grants, which is something we do each year, and we are quite successful at receiving those grants, and they're a significant addition to our capital budgets on projects each year. So we always want to stay up to date with this open space plan with the state as best we can. But beyond just the state requirements, we do use it as a guiding document to set forth our priorities and goals for the 7 years that the plan covers. So over the last 6 weeks or so, we had a survey that was open. We just closed it last week, but hopefully some of you, if not many of you, were able to fill out that survey and give us your input. If you didn't, don't worry. We're still welcoming input, just not through the survey itself. So I put on this slide, you can see we have an email, openspaceplan22@boston.gov. You're welcome to use that to send us any questions, comments. And you can also visit the project website, which is where we'll be updating information. I'll show you one map in a moment that we have posted on that website right now. So the website address is here on the screen, and before and after I finish my screen share, I can drop that in the chat as well. So the kinds of questions that we asked in the survey, for those who didn't see it, are the ones that are bulleted here. Really the goal of the open space plan update is to understand what people want to see improved in the park system. What are the kinds of park features or facilities that you think are lacking in your neighborhood or in the parks that you use? Are there improvements that would make the parks that you have access to more welcoming, more usable, more enjoyable? So let us know. And I don't know, it sounds like this update, it's best for it to just be me reporting out, and then people can follow up with me after, rather than engaging in a discussion here. But I think that's great, because then we have your input in writing and we can make sure that we're properly capturing everything. I'll just show you a couple other things. So this is a map that's on the project website. This is a walkshed map, also known as park service areas. So here we are. Looking at the Orient Heights part of the city. The darkest green on the map are all of the parks, both city and DCR owned parks citywide. And then the shades of green show sort of the extent of walkable access that people have throughout the city to those parks. So where where you see a darker green shade or tone, those are places in the city that residents have access to a couple of different parks. Parts of the city where they're really, Roxbury has pretty great park access. So does downtown. These are areas, Jamaica Plain, where people can walk to a lot of different parks from their houses, and then or wherever they live or work. And then other parts of the city have less park access. Notably out here in West Roxbury, Hyde Park, Mattapan, parts of South Boston, and also parts of East Boston, where we don't have as many public parks that people can access. So this is an important analysis for us to do to inform our work going forward. We have updated this map recently, and we use this in a lot of different ways, looking at demographics, looking at who our parks are serving well, who is not being well served by the system as it stands, and how can we address these shortcomings. One way that we'll address the shortcoming of public park access in Orion Heights is through the addition of a new public park as part of the Orion Heights housing redevelopment that Trinity is doing with DHA. And that isn't necessarily providing a lot of new parkland, but it's improving the public space that's there and making sure it's publicly accessible. This is, again, just for people's reference, there are a number of projects going on in the city, and a lot of these initiatives are related. So the Healthy Places website that you can visit has information about the open space plan, the heat resilience study, as well as the urban forest plan, all of which sort of relate to one another and are sharing ideas and priorities across them, so that we make sure our efforts are coordinated. You can see the address down here at the bottom of the page. It's boston.gov, Healthy Places. And then last but not least, I wanted to just remind you, if you weren't aware, that the mayor's coffee hours are going on right now. We had to postpone, reschedule our East Boston coffee hour. It was supposed to be the first one, but it was rained out. So now we have a new date in mid-July. So July 13th, come find us at East Boston Memorial Park that morning. We'll be there. It's not just the Parks Department, it's lots of different city departments and services and mayor, obviously, and other elected officials. So if this isn't something you've done in the past, come on down, and I'll probably be there. Yeah, that one's on my calendar. So I will be there, and I'd be happy to meet any of you and talk with you in person. So pencil that in, and I hope to see you there. Thank you. Thanks for sharing some of your meeting time with me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if you already sent me that presentation. Is it possible for you to do that? And then I can link to that so everybody gets all the links. And
yep, I'm happy to. Thank you.
I'd appreciate that. And are there any questions or comments before we move forward? Give it about 10 seconds. I don't see anything in the chat or any hands raised. All right, I guess we'll move forward. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Moving on with the agenda today, we have some development presentations. Each one is up for a vote this evening. And we are starting with the 972 Saratoga Street. Is anybody here from that project?
Hi, how are you? Yes. It's Mr. Jorge, the owner, and Sebastian, his son, are going to be translating for him.
Sure, go right ahead.
So, yes, the voting today that we are expecting is because the confirmation of the license that we've been going through, like by permits, but make it permanent, is something that we've been using for a year already. So the voting basically going to be to have a now and on without be asking every week of the permits. We've been working really hard with the soundproofing and everything, on the noise cancellation that don't go out, and yeah, we're willing to, and we're more than open to work with the community, and we're happy to be in this community. And it's awesome. We hope we can have your vote and make this happen. Thank you very much.
And so just to be clear, you guys are seeking a permanent live entertainment license for the restaurant?
For the place, because not always one place.
Okay. Perfect. I wonder, are there some raised hands? I see one. Lorraine, is that your hand? You could go ahead and speak.
Yes, hi. My name is Lorraine Burry. I live at 960 Saratoga Street, which is located across the street from La Fonda. My big concern with the live entertainment is we are able to hear the music coming out of the bar. Currently, they have music 5 nights a week, which is a lot. And it's like a constant beat going on all night long. Well, like from 10:30 till the time that they close. So we did have an abutters meeting back in April. And they were trying to make some improvements. They're aware that we're able to hear the music, and I do appreciate their efforts to try to make it a little bit better. But they're seeking, in my opinion, too many nights. And like just on Father's Day, which was on Sunday, the music coming out of there was so loud, and it was just so, I had to put my air conditioner on because I couldn't leave my window open. I have never called the police. I don't want to hurt my neighbor. I want to try to work with my neighbor. I want to go to the source if I have a problem. And whatever he's been doing has helped a little bit, but it's not consistent and it's just not working. We've had problems there even with the prior ownership before La Fonda took over. I know that they're trying, in my opinion, living so close, and me and my neighbors do feel that maybe instead of having music 5 nights a week, we can limit it down to 2 nights a week with the live entertainment, and maybe have piped in music other nights, because it's really a disruption hearing the music, I mean, there has been no problems with police presence or unruly patrons. It's the music itself that is creating the problems for myself and my neighbors. So that's just a suggestion, maybe to limit the nights rather than keep it at 5 nights.
Thank you, Lorraine. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that, or.
Yes, we understand that. I know that we heard you on the last meeting, but open, and we want to know more about the other neighbors, because it's important to listen the other neighbors what they think, because we really been doing the like a really heavy soundproofing and everything. But yes, we want to hear about the other neighbors. What are their thoughts? Because I think we've been doing a great job, and we've been following even with the police officers to make sure that everything is going correct, and we want to keep everything nice and peaceful. Obviously, 2 nights is gonna be too little. We've been for a year already, and we have even we have been working hard to, like as I say, soundproofing and everything. But it's important to have this license to succeed. And 2 nights gonna be like almost impossible to us to make it work. We, as I say, we've been working hard, and I think we talked about it back in April too, that sometimes the music is not coming only from us, from our neighbors too, that make parties around, and yes, so we ask for the full license because it's most than needed. And we think that sometimes something that I remember that we talked back on April was that even some neighbors say that it was right, that it's not, sometimes our neighbors make parties, but because we are the party in the community, everyone thinks it is our fault, but it's not our fault. And we've been working close with the police officers as well, closer, because we want to show to the authority that it's like we're doing our best and great job that we can, but we can have the fault of our neighborhoods always.
Samantha, I see your hands up. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, so we're abutters of the property. Twice, I believe, meetings were scheduled for abutters, but no, ourselves and other neighbors never received flyers. We managed to find out about one and it was canceled because of the lack of flyering. So one thing that concerns me is if they're not even complying with the system of notice, so we have the chance to respond at these meetings, how do we, feel comfortable going forward with this, especially a 5-night-a-week license? This is a residential neighborhood. There's children, we have work early in the morning. I know they do the best they can, but they can't control what people do once they leave. People are walking out of their bar, walking past our houses. We've had people turn on their car radios and start dancing and continuing the party while they sober up. I can't guarantee where they're leaving from, but there's no patrol once people leave those doors and they're in our neighborhoods, in our, walking by our houses, carrying on their festivities. On Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday nights, well.
Thank you, Samantha. And Lorraine, do you have another comment?
Yes, I do. He said they were trying, doing their best, but like I just stated, Sunday, just 2 nights ago, the music was coming from there. I am out the window. I am watching what's going on in my neighborhood. And I know exactly it's not coming from, there is other music being played in the course of the night, but it's coming from that building. On Wednesday night, I don't know what goes on there. I hear somebody speaking on a microphone. I don't know if they have like a trivia night or a karaoke of some sort. What I'm saying is that, it is giving where this location is and seeing where it's surrounded by a lot of residents. I think 5 nights is a lot of music. We're not in Faneuil Hall, downtown Boston. It's a lot. And Samantha stated, then once the music goes off from the bar, we have to continue to listen from the patrons. They're outside in their cars, playing music, sitting around, conversing, talking. There's a lot that's going on. And I'm not saying that they're not trying. I'm sure they are trying and they're doing the best they can, but it's just a little bit too close. And I think we have to come up with some kind of compromise here. It just can't be all or nothing. There has to be something else. It's just way too, because you have to keep in mind too, this is very small. It has a low ceiling, it has big windows. So of course you're gonna hear the sound. I mean, it just doesn't work right now. It's just not working, unfortunately, but thank you.
Peter, I see your hand. Is your hand up or is that just?
Yes. It is.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I live on 4th Street as well too. And just basically want to second what Lorraine and Samantha have said. And I did hear the music on Sunday in my bedroom. And it's a bass sound, and also the side door in the alley. Shut the door. That will keep the door is always open. Shut the door, and that's an obvious way to muffle the music as well. And that's a simple fix right there, is just shutting that side alleyway door, because that music is coming right out and right into my house. So it is faint. It can be heard. I agree that there has to be a balance. 5 days is, it's great for you, but not great for the neighbors. So there has to be a balance. I too want the businesses to be successful, and I want you to be successful, and we have to find a balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Are there any other comments or questions regarding this project? Now, if there's not, I will give the owner another chance just to comment on some of the comments that people have said, if you want to.
We appreciate your comments, and of course, we are working hard, as we say, to get better.
Recibí unas instalaciones muy deterioradas.
I received really bad installations when I received this place, and I've been working hard
Tengo un proyecto de instalación.
to improve the place more and more, and have like I keep working. It's not like I stopped working in the proofing system. I still working on that.
Diles que yo también vivo en el edificio
I do live in the building too.
y también escucho tarde de la noche sonido en algunas casas.
And I do hear sometimes, but as I keep saying, I hear as well in the houses around, because our community and the culture that we are around,
No
the
soy,
music.
no soy el único bar que está en el área.
Sometimes I feel that they just follow me, and
Está el billar que está en la Bennington.
and,
Sí,
but,
está
and then I feel too that it's not only me now that I'm in the area with music. Is the pool place that is around us.
Ahí donde están los semáforos se están parqueando unos vehículos.
And where the lights are through the Bennington and the Saratoga, I saw that there's these vehicles parking
Colocar música.
and partying in that corner, but that doesn't mean that it's coming from our business.
Tengo muy buena relación con el capitán de la policía.
I have a great relationship with the captain of the police commander,
Y él es conocedor de esta
and
problemática.
he knows about this problem too.
Dile que el año pasado
Last year,
de acá de la Port Street,
from here, from the 4th Street,
no sé si ellos se dieron cuenta que hicieron desocupar un apartamento con 7 muchachos que vendían vicio.
from the 4th Street, there was a place of one of the apartments that was very problematic, and the owner kept them out because it was doing too much.
Yo hablé con la policía
I talked with the police about this situation too,
porque están habiendo desórdenes,
because there was being like a bad situation going on,
y a que mi negocio saliera perjudicado.
and I didn't want that my business get involved in that, because we was not involved with that.
Queremos trabajar de la mano con la comunidad.
We want to work together with the community, and we're here to improve.
Le estoy invirtiendo mucho al negocio
I'm trying to invest in everything to this business,
porque es un negocio familiar.
because it's a familiar business. I work here with my family, with my son and my wife.
Por eso estamos pidiendo el apoyo de la comunidad.
That's why we are asking for the support of the community, and we're opening, as I say, to keep working, and I'm still improving everything as the noise and getting better. And I'm open and working to get better every time.
Hay situaciones que se me salen de las manos
There's-
cuando hay desórdenes en la calle.
There are situations that came out from my hands because it's in the public streets.
Es una calle donde pasa gente de Chelsea,
It's a street that connects with Chelsea and everything, and the culture stuff as well. And there's many people coming from the stations, and as well, I think that the culture that we are, I know that we're Latinos, that Latinos are a little bit more fire and party. But yes, I'm open to keep working hard, and I'm still working in the proofing, and yes,
Me comprometo con el señor
and I
relator
compromise with the
a
fourth
revisar esa puerta para que
neighbor
no salga más el
to
sonido.
keep that door shut, to the noise don't come out through there. I've been like working out with my employees to keep that closed, but I'm gonna be more pushing in that. I'm
Para
sorry
la
about that.
señora de la 960 le pido
And the
disculpas.
960 neighbor, I'm sorry about the noise. I'm open to, and still working hard to make that better. And yes, that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate you addressing those comments. I don't see anything else in the comments. So this is up for a vote this evening. And so at the end of the presentation, the development presentations, I will post a link to voting for all the different presentations that we're going to have. So I thank everybody for all their comments on this presentation. And I think at this point, we'll move forward with the next presentation. Is Derek here for the 102 Beach?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. It's all yours.
Will allow me to share my screen. Pull up the plans. All right, thank you. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Small, and I'm attorney for the project at 102 Beachview Road. We're seeking to erect a two-family dwelling on a vacant lot. As you can see from the picture that's shown on the screen, the vacant lot is at the corner of Beachview Road and Drummond Street. The zoning sub-district here is a 1F 5,000. Our lot size is 4,978 square feet.
Got it. And it's not.
So what I'm showing now is the existing or the proposed site plan. The building to the left is at 96 Beachview. The building that's being proposed here on the corner is the proposed two-family dwelling at the site. So there are 2 units, each 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and consist of about 1,660 square feet. They're duplex, so they're side by side, mirror image. We do have off-street parking for 2 spaces for each of the units within the garage spaces being provided at the rear of the property. So what you're looking at now is the proposed first floor level and second floor level. The first floor level, just to the left, consists of a family room. And to the right, you can see where each of the units will have 2 indoor garage spaces, with the kitchen, the living and dining room area. On the third level plan, you can see we're proposing 2 bedrooms and two baths, 1.5 bath at that level. There is no basement living and there are no roof decks. Here we are showing the elevations as the maximum height of the building is at 34 feet 7 inches to the top of the ridge. And what would happen is the front elevation is the Beachview side, and you go up and you either go left or go right to enter into the units up the stairs. To the right is the rear elevation showing the garage doors in the rear, where we have 2 spots for each of the units to park within the building itself. Here is the left side elevation facing from Drummond Street. As you can see, the front porch and the stairway going up. And again, the height of the building is at 34 7 inches. This is the right side elevation. And these are some renderings that the architect drew up. To the right, top right is the front of the building. Again, being at the corner of Beachview and Drumlin. You can see on the top left how it fits in with the building beside it and to the rear. And the bottom caption is looking down Drummond Street with the houses to the rear and to the right of it, showing how they would look in regard to the existing buildings that exist on the street. We do have a zoning code refusal letter with regard to a couple of variances that we will be seeking relief for at the Zoning Board of Appeals. Again, we are seeking to erect a 3-story 2-family dwelling on the vacant lot. Violations are as follows: lot width, lot frontage. The requirement is 50 feet. We have 40 feet. So we're short by 10 on the frontage. The number of stories allowed, again, it's a 2.5-story zoning sub-district, requires 2.5 stories. We are proposing 3.
Insufficient.
Insufficient front yard setback. We are lining the building up with the buildings that are to the right of it on Beach View. So we will be submitting plans, and the plans do show a modal alignment, which means we line them up with the buildings that are on that side. With regard to the side yard setback, the requirement is 12 feet. We have 5 feet and 6'7" on the other side, which is the side with faces Drumlin Street. So between the two buildings, there's approximately 5 feet where the side yard setback requirement is 12. Rear yard setback, 40-foot requirement. We have 29.5 or 29.5 feet with regard to the rear yard setback. We are in East Boston IPOD, which is the interim overlay district, planning overlay district for East Boston on that side. So those are the violations that we will be going to the zoning board of appeals for to seek relief. Again, we are proposing a 2-family with 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and approximately 1,660 feet with 2 off-street parking spaces for each of the units. I'll pause there and I'll open it up for any questions and answers that people might have, comments.
Thank you, Derek. There are a few questions in the comments. You can address them or I can read them.
I didn't even have up my chat, but because I was sharing the screen. But no, go ahead. You can read them and I can address them. That's fine.
Sure. The first is Gail Miller's asking, is it a legal lot now, as in subdivided?
Yes, they're 2 separate lots.
And then the Gail continues, 2-family is forbidden by zoning.
That's correct.
Underground parking will force an unacceptable height. The building next door is also expanding, so in essence, it will be a walled-in block of views to the butters. This is not in keeping with the character of our neighborhood at all. This 2-family is being squeezed into the landscape.
Yep. Again, we are meeting the height requirement with regard to feet requirement. With regard to feet is 35 feet. We are 34.7, but we are being cited because it's 3-story building, and the maximum with regard to stories is 2.5 stories in the zoning subdistrict. Again, they are separate lots, and we are proposing a three-story building at the site.
Also, Donna is asking, are these rentals or for purchase?
They're for purchase. They're condominiums, home ownership.
And Gail again's asking for drawings as to what the development alongside next door is going to look like. The presentation slides don't show the impact. But I think these images show what the project and what's next door. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the bottom one shows the property behind, where you can see the garage doors in the rear of the property, and you see the properties on Seaview Street in the rear there as well.
There's not, condos are not allowed up here.
If you have a question, I'm happy to address it. Just, I don't want people screaming out in the middle of the presentation. I see that your hand is raised. I'm going to get through the comments here in the chat first, and then I will let you ask your question. So I'm just going to get through the comments here. And so Joanne says, when you say 3-story, 2-family dwelling, are you saying that one of the families will live on 2 floors and the other will live on 1 floor?
No, these are duplex units side by side.
Okay. And
the left side of the property will be 1 unit, the right side will be the other.
Got it. Gail saying this does not conform to the zoning code and does nothing to enhance the character. And also there's no hardship for this development. Let's see if there's anything else. And then someone is asking, are there substantial hardships for the variances that are requiring special permits? I don't know if you want to.
There is no hardship.
Okay. I think that's all the comments. So I'll go now to the raised hands. I see, is it Ronald Orlando? If you'd like to unmute, then you can speak.
Myself.
We can hear you
Am I
now.
unmuted? Okay. Derek, why now all of a sudden we're doing two duplexes? First it was a 3-family, then it went to a 2-family. Now you're doing 2 duplexes. I mean, how many times are we gonna change these plans?
It's still a 2-family. It's always been duplex.
No, it hasn't been side by side, first of all. Second of all, now you're parking 4 cars. Okay? Now, when I'm sitting in my backyard, I have to take in all those fumes from those 4 cars that are coming into that driveway.
Yes, we are
Cars
proposing
idling.
parking in the
Derek.
rear, access from the curb cut on Drumlin.
Yeah, and where's my house? My house is right in front of the right in front of the garages.
If you look at the screen that I'm sharing, I think that's your house there at the corner, correct?
That's right, and the one after that, on the right of that.
So yeah, so the parking, again, is accessed by the curb cut here off of Drumlin. Cars will pull in 2 spaces per unit in the rear.
Okay, so now, where are all those fumes going? Up to my table that I have on my deck. First of all. Second of all, you made the peak even higher. Okay, now you took all my sunlight away and all my views away.
Peak is at 34 feet 7 inches. That's where it's been for this project.
No, it's not gonna happen, Derek. We're gonna fight you tooth and nail, Derek.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. You've been it's been forbidden from the get-go, from the zoning board. You just keep on wanting to fight and fight and fight.
That's why we go to the zoning board to seek relief from the
Well,
the variances needed.
Okay, didn't the zoning board forbid it?
Not yet. We haven't had a hearing
I
yet.
have it in black and white on your printout here. Forbidden. 2-family forbidden from the zoning board. I have it in black and white. I told you, we don't mind a 1-family in a lower height, but not a 2-family. Okay, this is a family orientated neighborhood, okay? We don't need condos up here. Condos belong down in East Boston, not up Orient Heights, not on the hill. Okay, he's not building this house for himself. He's building it to make a profit to sell it. Good luck to him, but we don't want that here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is a business proposition for him. He doesn't care about the abutters, so we're not going to care about what he wants.
Thank you for your comments. I think we're going to move over to another hand raised. Steve, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. So I directly abut the property right next door to it. I do think the lot is way too small for this proposal. My bigger thing is that I'm extremely nervous about is the construction that's going to occur, like the timeframes and how it's going to be run, because Mr. Broden, who I believe is the owner, has not taken care of the property whatsoever. It looked like it's been abandoned for like a good year. I finally had to contact Mr. Small, who's been very responsive, to get in touch with Mr. Broden, because the whole place was completely overgrown, but the other more concerning thing is whether there was a gaping hole on the second floor of the current structure. It was probably like 2 feet by 3 feet at least, wide open. So all sorts of animals could have been going in there the whole time. It was open for like a good 2 months. So clearly Broden's not been checking on the property at all. So it just makes me really nervous, like how this whole project's going to be run if it does get approved. And I also have 2 very young children, so definitely concerned about the noise. And as I had said before in the last meeting, like all the debris when they were gutting the inside of the current property, they didn't really care at all, and they let all the garbage and trash blow over into our yard. Dirty mass, like just like ripped out pieces of drywall. Never picked it up.
I know, Stephen, I know, you and I have talked several times with regard to the maintenance of the property, and I can assure you that that has been addressed as we no longer use the contractor for maintenance that we had before. So.
But don't you find that a bit odd that he hasn't checked on the property and left that gaping hole in the building?
Well, I know they check on the property. Quite frequently.
You couldn't miss this hole. It's massive. There's no way he checked on it, because if he did, he didn't care about it, because until I contacted you, he didn't come out and start cutting down all the weeds and debris that was overgrowing everywhere.
There's raccoons in the windows. I seen them coming in and out.
Please do not unmute and speak without raising your hand or putting something in the chat. It does not help the conversation.
Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. That's just what my concern is.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, I see your hands up. Would you like to make a comment? Elizabeth Angulo. Are you able to unmute? No. If not, is Ronald Orlando, do you have your hand up again? You'll need to unmute.
Muted.
In regards to Steve, Connie, Steve, I have seen raccoons coming out of that kitchen window upstairs against your side of your house. Okay, and I've seen squirrels going up there too. But there was a raccoon. If they go inside the house, they'll see raccoon poop inside the house. Okay, because I've seen the raccoons coming in and out.
Thank you. Any other comments? Elizabeth, I still see your hand up, or I see someone now, just Smith. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
This is Darren Smith from 56 Beachview Road. Mr. Smalls, can you comment about the traffic disruption? Like during the construction, will they be closed, need to close Drumlin at some point? I mean, Beachview is already a tight street, so definitely some concerns as to getting in and around the neighborhood. If this does.
No, the streets will not be closed. As part of any development plan in the city of Boston, we would have to submit to the transportation department a traffic mitigation plan, which will allow for pedestrian traffic to either move to the other sides of the Drumlin Street with regard to the sidewalk, but they won't stop traffic on the street for any significant amount of time while the project is going on. It won't. Most of the stuff can be done on site.
Thank you. I also see Stand Up for East. He's got a hand up if you'd like to unmute.
Sure, thank you. Hi, my name is Joni. I'm with a community group called Stand Up for Eastie. We work really hard to try to preserve the neighborhoods and what they're zoned for. And in this sub-district, they're zoned for one family. I'm
correct.
just asking, can you build a one family on this lot?
We probably could be developed because it's a 1F zone, but we would still have to go to the zoning board of appeals for any number of violations. Yes,
What would the violations be for a single family home?
they would be the same as they are for a 2-family home with regard to the side yard setbacks, which if we drop, I'll give you an example. If you dropped one of the units from this particular structure, the way it's built now, you would still have most of the violations with regard to dimensional violations, which are the side yard setbacks, the rear yard setbacks, and things of that nature.
And that's just
Even if
dependent on
you were
where
going to go one family.
where you place the house on the lot and the size of it is dependent on the rear yard setbacks. But from what I'm hearing with the abutters is, they seem like they'd be happy with a single family house opposed to a 2-family house because that is the code.
And that's, yeah, I would agree with that. Yep, I hear them loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see any more hands up. I'll give about 5 more seconds for any last second comments or questions. I think the people's opinions are pretty clear here, and I appreciate Derek for answering their questions and for the presentation. If there's nothing else, I think we will just move on to the next one. And again, I will put a link for a vote for this project in the chat at the end of our meeting. So thank you again, Derek, and thank you for everybody for your comments on this project.
Yes, thank you guys for the time. Always greatly appreciate it. I want to thank all of you. Lorraine, thank you. You and Steve and Jay for all of your diligence and hard work going through this process. I know it's not easy, but thank you again. I appreciate the time.
The next project for this evening is 5 Breed Street, and I just saw Jeff pop up there. I think you're gonna take it from here.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Let me just pull up the screen. Okay, let me just make that full screen. Okay, you can see that all right?
We got it.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone, for having us back. For those of you who do not know me, my name's Jeff Drago. I'm the zoning attorney for Melissa Navaco, who's the developer and proposed owner for 5 Breed Street, which as it stands now is a vacant city parcel. I also have her contractor, Tom Falcucci, as well on the call, and Eric Zackerson from Context, who's the architect as well. We've had a number of abutter meetings on this project, taking feedback and trying to make adjustments. We've also appeared before the Orient Heights group now. I believe this is our 4th meeting, and we are scheduled for a vote, and we appreciate everyone's input and patience during the process. One thing that we did change slightly from our last meeting, just because it was mentioned by our rear abutters about the top floor, we do have a pullback on the top floor in the front of the building, which is 7 feet. But we mentioned looking at a pullback in the rear for our rear neighbors as well, which we were able to do. So now we've got a pullback in the front of the building of 7 feet and a pullback in the rear of the building on the top floor at 6 feet, so that top floor living space has been reduced over about another 100 square feet, so that the massing is set in the middle of the building, pulled away from the front and the rear. based on input from our neighbors. What you're looking at in front of you is a rendering of the proposed building as it would stand. This is a proposed 4-unit residential condominium building as we had discussed. And I'm going to run through the presentation. This particular zoning district lies in a neighborhood shopping district. It is a mix of housing stock in the area. There is definitely mixed use. The building to the right of us is an 8-unit with mixed use commercial and new residential condos on top. The building to the left of us is at 7 Breed, is a 3-unit building. There's mixed use at the corner, which we're going to show you some pictures. And there's also different precedents from height, varying from 4 to 3 in this area. Our lot size is 2,405 square feet. Right now, it's all hot top. It's an empty parcel. It does have a grade change as you go down. There's also a curb cut, which we will be restoring and adding a parking space back to the street as well. This is the BPDA context map. So the pink area is the highlighted lot that stands now, that's vacant. And you can just see that the area is zoned as neighborhood shopping. And so just to give you sort of an aerial view of what's around us. So as I had mentioned, if you're standing in front, to the left of us is a 3-family. To the left of that is a 3-family. Across the street is a multifamily residential, 4 to 6 unit with commercial. Across the street is 4 to 6. On the corner is the large multifamily commercial with residential units above. On the corner is 8 units. Behind us, our direct rear abutter is a 4 to 6 unit building. Our diagonal abutter in the back is also a 3-family. So mix of housing stock in the area. These are just some views, upgrades. You can see the new building that was developed. We're only going to be slightly higher because of the pitch than this building. You can see the 4-story multifamily building across the street, but also going to have cannabis in it. You can see the commercial 1-story and commercial mixed use directly across the street, and the 3-family to the left of us. These are the 2 large buildings. This building is taller than ours. It's a higher 4-story. This building on the corner is 8 units. This is a front view of the lot as it stands. So you can see right here, this is large empty curb cut. That will go back. There'll be new sidewalks put in. We're also going to have an area of green space in the rear. And for all of the development going on for this project, we only have 3 variances we're seeking for the project. So we tried to keep the variances down. We've got FAR, which now has been slightly reduced from before. We're at about 2.1. What's allowed is 1.0. So we would need an FAR variance. The building height, although there are other 4 stories, and the building to the right is about 38 feet. We're proposing 42 feet. So we do need a height variance, but as you know now, we've pulled that top floor in. And obviously we're very close to the T station right across the street, so we aren't able to create any parking. But what we did make a commitment is to work with BTD to not give any residential stickers for parking to this building for the condo residents, which other projects we have been able to complete that with. So that will help with parking, and then we'll also be restoring the curb cut right here, which would create some on-street parking as well. Just explained exactly what I said. We meet all of the other criteria for open space, front yard, side yard. Our rear yard also meets, so we purposely put a 20-foot setback in the rear for green space. So right now that's all hot top. That will have fencing and green space in the back for the residents to use in the building. Just for some more site context, our left abutter at 7 Breed is a 3-story, 3-family building. We do have a letter of support from the owner, and I believe she's also on the call tonight. Across the street at 1012 Breed, that's a 4 to 6 unit building. A large, multi-family building, has over 8 units in it. And also commercial, has cannabis and a residential store. We do have the support at 1012 and 1016 Bennington Street. That's an 8-unit building with restaurant and variety store and 6 condos above. 21 Ford Street is a 3-story mixed residential with commercial use on it at the corner. Our rear abutter was also on the call. He also has a 3-story, 4 to 6 unit building as well. This is our proposed plot plan. So it just shows the contours of the building. You can see the back area, 20-foot setback. You can see the area that's going to house the catch basin for drainage, because that had come up as well. This will, right now, this is just hot top. So any rainwater or anything with no permeable surface is going to roll right downhill. This new building will have permeable grass area in the back to absorb water. It will also have catch basin and a full engineering set for drainage that will have to be approved by water and sewer. We get into the layout of the plans. Unit 1 is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, so it's a family style unit at 1,155 square feet. And again, as I had mentioned, these are home ownership condos. We go up to the second unit to 1,140 square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit. And then the third and fourth floor, these are bi-level units. So unit 3 is 1,120 square feet. The lower level would have the 3 beds and 2 bath. Third floor, lower level, unit 4 is 1,140 square feet, 3 beds, 2 bath, and then additional living space, 1 bath, and then the decks. And then just to remind folks, we now have the 7-foot pullback in the front, so to absorb the massing in the front of the building. But in comments from our rear abutters, we also pulled in the back of the building 6 feet. So now all of the living space is sort of in the center of the building. And this diagram actually shows that. So front pullback and a rear pullback on the property, and then the front elevation of the building. And then just a final rendering, and we can open up to any questions that folks have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. There were a few questions in the comments. I'll start with those and then see if anybody else has anything to say. And Denise, help me if I'm doing this wrong, but it says 5 Breed Street. Will there be a front desk? I think you're saying on the 4th floor. Are you saying desk? Maybe I'm reading that incorrectly.
There'd be a front deck on the 4th floor.
That's what okay. So I think they meant to write deck. Okay. And
but no roof deck, just to be clear.
No roof deck. And then, okay, Mary, I see your hand is up. If you'd like to go ahead and speak.
Hi, actually, Jane, I can see you, but I don't have any audio. So Mary is connecting me through her phone. Jeff, you addressed the issue of the rear setback. The major problem you did not address is the fact that you say parking. You say the city isn't going to issue stickers. I want proof of that from the city. I want proof of that from the city because 10, 12, or whatever number it is above Angela's, when that was brought before the zoning board, you were the attorney. And the last question by the zoning board addressed to you was, how are you going to address the parking? It says, how are you going to address the parking? And you told the zoning board that you were going to inquire at the Orion Heights station about parking. That never happened as far as I'm concerned. How do you expect us, who are so densely populated right now, you rattled off all the units in the area, 4 units here, 6 units here, the stores. Now we have the camp. I am fortunate prominent enough to have a driveway. But the other day, I had to call the police because I was late for work because somebody on my street who had nowhere to park parked in my driveway. So you say, that the city's not giving out stickers. I want proof. I want a letter sent to the abutters by the city of Boston saying that they will not issue stickers.
So I can answer that. So the city of Boston will not send anything out to abutters. We have to go on the record with the zoning board. I also said I would put that in writing prior to my hearing. I would be happy to do that. And then upon request, once that goes on record with the zoning board, BTD, who's also present at that hearing, can make note of it and it can go down as a proviso. That's how that works. That proviso was not put on the building next door. We had mentioned we would use the T station for that building. So that was not restricted. That was a number of years back that was approved. This practice has now become more common throughout Boston over the last few years. Secondly, we are creating able to create one parking spot back on street by restoring the curb cut as well. And just to point out, I mean, most of the buildings all around us do not have parking. I know that's not an answer, but it's the majority of the buildings all around us have no parking fee. So by restoring the curb cut, by also putting that restriction and being this close to a T, the folks we believe that are buying these condos are not going to be clogging the streets with cars.
No, Jeff, don't say that because we have people Antrim Street who live in the neighborhood who don't want to walk to the T station, come and park on Antrim and Ashley Street and walk over to the T station. You cannot guarantee us that those people will not have cars. It's so densely populated here. When I just can't believe. Maybe if you knock down a level or two, you'd have more room. But you're looking for a floor to air ratio there, which is taking away. You're building to the extreme. Therefore, you're not allowing for any parking. You're taking up the space, and therefore, Barbara, in a densely populated section of East Boston.
Yeah, I mean, this is a neighborhood shopping district zone. So someone could come, not me, not, someone else could build a 35-foot commercial building on this site that I believe would generate a lot more traffic than 4 residential condominiums with newer folks buying. So, but I appreciate your comment, Mary. And based on your comment, we actually pulled the back of the building in because you had mentioned that at the last meeting as well.
Thank you for addressing that, Jeff.
Down that street, there was only one 4-unit, 4-story building at the corner. If you look down, we have a single family, we have 2 families, and 3 families. So I don't know how you can say this, that if you're following the look of the neighborhood. More so is the parking. I am extremely concerned about parking. I have tenants in my house. I said that sometimes when Bennington Street is a snowstorm, Bennington Street is an emergency artery. They come and we get the overflow from Bennington Street up and down Antrim Street on Ashley Street. So I mean, the developers keep building and building, and where are we putting all these people in these cars? And it doesn't fly with me. I live it. When you tell me we're across the street from a station, we're marketing to people who don't have cars. That's not. It's statistics. But Jeff, I live it. I live it every day. I walk out of my house at 5:30, and there's not a single parking space. All right. So I mean, this is the part that you're not. That was a major problem, and it's not being resolved. It's not being resolved.
I think it is. By putting the restriction on, that's not. I can't guarantee anyone will not have cars, but I can guarantee we will put that restriction on it. Can I address? Can I just address the comment? And we're also restoring a parking spot. I mean, I don't know how many tenants you have. Do your tenants all have off-street parking on your property?
We have 3 cars. We have 3 cars. We also get the people who park above the Neil place that are on Bennington Street. One of your, probably what the owner to your proposal here. All right. We also have people.
Well, wait a minute, I don't represent the nail place. I don't represent the nail place.
He has tenants of the parking in the street. All right. So don't tell me that there aren't any cars. I'm so sick of hearing this. I really am. I really, really am.
I'm not saying there's no cars. I'm just saying how we put forward at least a plan to try to help reduce it.
I just want to step in, Mary. I think everybody understands that there's a parking concern. Mary,
Jane, they're talking.
Mary, I think everybody
It's not Mary, it's Jane. I told you that from the beginning.
Apologies. We understand the parking concern, but I want to there's a lot of voices who want to speak here, and I want to let everybody have their say. So I'd like to just have a couple other people speak. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Thank you. I see a hand for a stand up for Eastie up if you'd like to go ahead and speak. Can you unmute? If not,
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
Hi.
gotcha. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's Joni from Stand Up for Eastie. Again, a community group that's working to preserve East Boston neighborhoods. My question is, I see that there's a variance for the FAR, the height and the parking. What would this look like if you were to build to code?
It would be a 35-foot commercial building.
A 35-foot commercial building?
That has a variety of uses, from restaurants to store to,
So if that's what would be compliance with the code, my question is, why not build that?
because that's not even practical. One, there is still a housing issue. There's multifamily up and down the street. We've heard parking is an issue, and nail salons and restaurants we keep hearing are part of the problem. So I would say for residential homeowners that are gonna live in a parcel right now that's been vacant for years and is nothing but hot top, that's gonna create green space, is definitely more in line what I feel East Boston should have, condo home ownership as opposed to a 35-foot commercial building.
So would you be able to reduce the height and add in parking and not have it be 4 units?
It just doesn't make, it's just not going to make sense given the acquisition cost and the cost of construction. And that is why we actually pulled the building in on the top floor. So
Is this lot already purchased or is it pending?
there's a contract in place to purchase
Is it contingent with the zoning codes
it.
being
I
approved?
I can't get into that on behalf of my client. I can't, that's,
Okay,
that's something I
Yeah.
can't.
thank you.
Thank you for the comments. I just wanted to say, I recognize there's several comments in the chats, but I just want to get to the people who have raised their hands first. And then I promise to read everything in the chat. So please just be patient. I see Rodrigo, your hand is raised. Would you like to speak? It's Rodrigo's iPhone.
I think he unmuted.
Yeah, it looks like you're unmuted. I can't hear you though.
There you go.
We see ya. We don't hear you yet.
That's the rare of butters.
Okay. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. So perhaps you can. Perhaps you can put your comment in the chat. We can read it because we can't hear you. And I'm just going to move over to Michael. I see your hand is up.
Is that Michael Underwood? Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to check that by getting rid of the curb cut. I don't think that's a residential will be a residential parking spot out in front. I think it's limited to 2 hours for commercial reasons, I believe. I think that's what the sign along that street is right now. So you're not really opening a spot for.
Well, we are at night because that all anyone can park there at night. So it seems to be that night is the issue.
Okay, I guess you have to get up early and move your car. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, again, I mean, I don't know how they label it on that side. I'm not 100% sure.
I checked it out. I'm surprised you didn't check it because that was an issue at the last meeting.
Well,
but anyway, I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. I'm just going to go into the chat now until I see some other hands raised, and forgive me going back a little bit here in the chat. I see Stand Up for Eastie's asking, is there a substantial hardship requiring special permits? What if the residents that buy this condo already have resident parking stickers?
So they couldn't be used to it has to be tied to an address. They couldn't use it for this address if that's something we put in writing.
They'd have to have another East Boston address, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Gail says 3 families forbidden use currently, which stands and will be acknowledged and supported by courts on appeal.
So this is not a forbidden use, just so we know. That's conditional. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a use. There is no use violation. I'm sorry. It's an allowed use. So multifamily in a commercial area is an allowed use.
Mike's question is, how can you control who can apply for resident stickers if they are tax-paying residents of a neighborhood?
So it's a program that BTD started, that other developments have used. You give a list to BTD and they don't issue it's an agreement that went with the condo docs. And it's a program to help alleviate parking problems across the city. And as the developer, it's written before someone purchases that condo, so they're made well aware of it.
I think this is related. Lorraine says, how is it legal to not get an East Boston sticker if you are an East Boston resident?
That I don't know. It's a program the city has. I'm not the city, but it's been done around the city, and in particular, some new projects in Eastie and a lot of projects in South Boston.
Yeah, Mike again says, what about the 4 cars currently parking in that vacant lot? Are you displacing those cars as well?
So there's no cars that go along with this lot. Every time I've parked there, it's only been used for the development of the project next door. It was leased out. So it might be those cars. Other than that, there's no other cars that should be parking there to my knowledge.
And I'm not sure if this is a comment for you or just a general statement for everybody. What about suggesting to use St. Lazarus parking lots? They may be willing to rent spots.
Sure, would be happy to do that. It's a little bit of a walk, but I think sure. And that's something creative that people will do, I'm sure, as you know, if they do have a car and they can't park it, or they'll use ride share, just like the North End, and they'll use the T, and you know, or if they've got multiple vehicles, they're just not going to buy this particular condo.
Stand Up for EC also mentioned that if someone has a resident sticker that's applicable for 2 years, they will still be able to park on the street. I'm assuming they're using their old address to park there. I guess that is something that could potentially happen. Gail is saying 3 stories are forbidden and the 4th floor is a front.
So 3 stories are allowed up to 35 feet. The additional 4th level, we do, as I had mentioned, have a height variance for that.
Sean is asking, is or was this lot owned by the supporting abutter?
So there is a neighbor in the back that does own the property. He is our direct rear abutter and he does support the project. So yes.
Not sure I understand Diane's question. Does he say housing problem in East Boston? Not sure I understand that question. If you'd like to clarify, Diane, I'm happy to ask it. Donna, I can agree that overdevelopment will affect streets that have single family houses, but no driveways. We are already suffering from overdevelopment. If they're putting parking for at least 2 cars per unit with a guarantee they won't get street parking, and local officials will lower the amount of visitor parking on our local streets, all the while not overbuilding in a spot that doesn't conform to the neighborhood, seems impossible. I'm not sure if you can address that.
What was I don't even understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question, I think it's a generalized statement.
I mean, like I said, that we can't solve any parking issue. I do know that I've heard at a bunch of meetings that, you know, the commercial activity, people coming to restaurants and the businesses is a problem in the day. I think having a residential use, much less of effect on parking than folks coming in and out all day up until, 9 at night when a business closes. This is 4 units, not 40 units. And we are literally on top of the T station. We're putting some parking in the street back for whoever uses it. It's for residents and visitors. And we're going to do that BTD program that restricts resident stickers. I think we've tried to address it as best as we possibly can.
Forgive me, I'm trying to read through all these. Gail's again saying 3 families are grandfathered. I don't know if you can confirm.
So Gail doesn't have the correct information. The zoning code in this area allows for multifamily residential and neighborhood shopping and community commercial districts. So we were not cited, and you can check the refusal letter, for any kind of use violation. I mentioned the violations we were cited for. Height that's allowable in this area is 35 feet and 3 stories. So that is allowable.
Okay, I'm going to move forward a couple here. I see Rodrigo. He was trying to speak earlier. He's put a comment in. He's the owner of 1024 Bennington Street, and he says he supports the project. Joanne says the issue of parking would be better complemented by smaller units. I don't know if you want to speak to that at all.
I'm sorry, what was that again? I apologize.
That the parking issue would be complemented if the units were smaller.
And there's a constant debate. If the units are too small, people want to also see more families and have a little bit more room in the units. These aren't massive units. They're 1,155, 1,100 square foot, 3-bedroom units. And most likely that's going to be a couple, maybe with a child, or a couple that has an office. So, the zoning board, the BPDA, even the community has really been pushing us against just having studios and 1-bedroom units, because those usually end up becoming more like rental units. So we really want to make this a project that we can be proud of, and that's going to complement the community. So we can certainly look at it.
And I'm going to allow, I see a hand up. I think I'm at the end of the comments here. A German, I'm saying that, Velasquez, would you like to speak? Are you able to unmute?
Hello, everybody. My name is German Velasquez, and my wife is also on the list. We own the 7 Bridge Street, and we approve this project. I agree about the parking, but I remember he's pointing that is a lot of business on the day. Also, in the nighttime, it's going to be free parking over there. The restaurant is going to be closed. The laundry is going to be closed, so it's more parking that there. And then the corner is another store can the people parking. It's a lot of issue about one person who is going to making projects on this Boston to increase our power as a neighborhood. That we had to making the solution for the parking lot. That is an issue about the Boston. The Boston Transit is going to making a lot of solution about that kind of issue. So we had a problem for many, many years, and everybody is raise your hands and make it a big voice. That is one of the issues that is about East Boston. Thank you. I love everybody. Ciao, bye-bye.
So that's the owner of 7 Breed Street, voicing support for the project. I do see that there's some comments saying that this person is related to the seller. I just want that to be, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's in the comments here. Let's see. Stand up for East. Yes, your hands up. Would you like to speak again?
I just wanted to address, because I hear a lot about the parking issue. I'm just curious, if you were to build to the parking code, say a 3-family instead of a 4-family, just to get that height variance off, how many parking spaces would you need to put in there?
It's 1.5 per dwelling, so.
Even though, like, no matter how many units there is, because I know that, like, the more units, the bigger that 1.5 goes, or is it just stay the same?
No, it's one in this area. Each zoning district is different. It's 1.5 required per dwelling unit.
Okay, I don't know if there's a way to somehow put in some parking and maybe reduce the height, but I think that would make the people around the area happier, and it would probably fit in better with the neighborhood, seeing that there have been comments about, 3 families in the area as well. And that's just my input. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, again, we do have support, and I know one of the gentlemen is related, but our rear abutter, our direct rear abutter is supportive, our direct right abutter is supportive, and our direct left abutter is supportive. We did send support letters to this group. I feel like we've really tried everything to address the parking. If you start adding parking, you're going to have to drive up the height of the building. And like I said, I just feel this use is definitely going to have less parking associated with it, especially now that we're going to do the restriction with BTD, restoring a space on the ground. And, just to point out that all the neighbors around us, on Breed, have no parking. So we're not doing something of a use that isn't already being used in the area, or designing it. But, and we can't forget the fact that this is as close as you can get to a T station as I've seen for a development. And I know folks may not believe it, but people that do buy condominiums near T stations do want to utilize that advantage. And a lot of the folks working in the downtown area are going to use that T for commuter travel. It's the same with the building to the right of it. And that was one of the marketing tools. I know that's now just finished, but in marketing the building to the right, being able to have great accessibility to the T. So, and it's an advantage. So, thank you.
Thank you for answering that. And yes, I know Gail is also saying the T is having significant issues right now. I think everybody's very aware of problems with the T right now as well. I appreciate everybody. I know there's some strong feelings about the project, and I appreciate everybody asking questions and Jeff answering them. I don't see any other hands up or really anything else in the comments. So I think we can bring this to a close. I will put a link for the vote here to all the projects we've had presentations from at the end of our meeting tonight, and I will leave the meeting open so everybody gets a chance to vote. So again, thank you for everybody. Thank you, Jeff, for the presentation and for everybody for their comments for this project. But we'll move on with our agenda at this point. Before we end tonight, a couple of things. Number one, please make sure you signed the sign-in sheet. I know it's been posted a few times here in the chat and I've failed to mention it, so forgive me for that. But please make sure you sign in so that we can check voter eligibility for this evening. Additionally, just we are still looking for people to take over the board. Our two-year term, myself and the secretary ends in July. We are stepping down at that point, and so we need people to continue to run meetings when September comes around again. Today was supposed to be nominations. I've received nothing in terms of nominations. So I'm hoping that maybe some people will step up and nominate themselves or be interested in trying to do this, because we want to make sure that there is people to run the meetings in September when we continue. Obviously, we're off in August. So next month, the July meetings are the last meetings for this board. And then hopefully a new board will take over in September. Unless anybody has anything else, I'm going to go ahead and put the voting link now into the chat. Give me 1 second to do that here. So the voting form is now in the chat. I'm going to leave the meeting open for a few minutes so that everybody can go ahead and vote. Just a Gail corrected me. You need to have been at 2 of the last 3 meetings in order to be eligible to vote, or an abutter. And we track that through the Google form that's related to the sign-in sheet here. So please make sure you signed in, and please make sure that you voted. And unless you have any other questions, I'm just going to leave the meeting open. I'll be here for about 5 minutes to let everybody finish out voting, and then I'll end the meeting. Have a great night, and thank you so much for your attendance.
So how do you vote?
The link was put into the chat, so you just need to click on the link in the chat.
I don't know how to vote.
I will put the link into the chat, but you need to click on the link in the chat in order to vote. I'll put it in. I'm redoing it right now. Okay, everybody, I'm going to close the meeting now. So thank you for your participation. And if you have questions, feel free to email Orient Heights with those questions. Have a pleasant evening, and we will see you at our next meeting.